Hello everyone, this is Javamonk, and welcome to episode 3 of my adventure map making series. Last episode we built up the entirety of Earth, well, most of it. Still haven't got the challenge advancements or any of the advancements in place, as well as the loot tables, but that'll be figured out later on. This episode we will focus on the moon, a giant block of endstone floating in the sky. So I've already started on some off-camera work here, which I will explain as the episode goes on. So, first things first, the entrance to the moon, I need to put in an arena. So, I briefly mentioned that there's going to be a rocket that the player will ride in, going from Earth all the way up to the moon. And that rocket is intended to be some sort of hyper-advanced futuristic rocket that lands silently and randomly, which will just happen to land right smack in the middle of an arena where you will then meet the next quest maker. But first off, we gotta build the arena. And by me, I mean popular MMOs, because he built an absolutely amazing looking arena, which I used in the ultra primitive original version of this adventure map. I've not mentioned the existence of this because, well, it's pretty primitive. So I'm not. This is the most you'll. This is pretty much the most you'll ever see of this. Now on the moon and also on Mars, because they have the same arenas, just slightly color changed. I have popular MMOs' arena, where he has the challenge game series, I think. So I then took that and built it for myself, and then completely changed out some of these blocks using MC Edit. Now, I still don't have MC Edit capabilities, so we're gonna have to make use of structure blocks, I think. Let's see. Assuming I can spell it properly. So, let's see just how big the bounding box of these structure blocks are. In case you're wondering, the arena on Mars looked like this. Yes, as soon as this loads in, with all the overload of mushrooms. So this is what the Mars arena looked like. But we'll get to that later. First off, we gotta figure out how to get the moon arena over to our world. I think I found the perfect solution. Just save 1/4 of the arena, and then just since it's symmetrical as you rotate it, it's perfect. Let's make sure that actually worked. Okay, let's see if I messed this up. And load. Whoa. Yep, I definitely messed this up. Okay, that should not be rotated like that. On second thought, structure blocks are significantly more complicated than MC Edit. So the dialogue for the Moon Quest Maker is going to be pretty much dealt with the same way as the Earth Quest Maker. So the Moon Quest Maker is going to be a rabbit, specifically a yellow rabbit. So this is actually completely different from the ultimate boss, the Killer Bunny, but I figured having a yellow rabbit for the moon is the best for this place, especially since rabbits also jump. So now over here is a parkour challenge. So let me just turn on moon gravity. Here we go. So now I can jump super high. So let's activate moon gravity. I'm going to make a quick backup of this world, and then I'll show everything that goes on inside this thing. I just realized a massive flaw with having a giant open arena. On the actual moon, it is dark. So Having blue sky and bright sun is going to be unacceptable. Let's see if we can fix that. Maybe set it to midnight. Okay, now the moon is actually visible, even though we're on the moon. So I think what would be important is having it be night here, so you can still see stars, but the moon is invisible. Maybe like this? Nah, it's too bright on this side now. Okay. How about that? If I stand inside this arena, then can I see the moon at all? Because I know there's quite a few people, you can still see the moon. Okay. There's quite a few people who would intentionally go around an adventure map like this and look for things like having a moon be visible. So, even from an angle like this, it is impossible to see the moon. It is still a little too bright from this angle, though. In fact, over here, you can probably still see orange. Yep. Okay. When it's raining, the moon and sun are completely invisible. Except now it's raining. And you still can't see stars. I know. Since it's going to be a texture pack anyway, I could just make a texture where the moon doesn't exist. Wait a minute. Why would I need to cover up the sun and moon if I build a structure around this arena? Like a hotel. A little while later, there's now a moon hotel surrounding this arena, so now, no matter where you look, you can't see the sky. Now, in this hotel, of course, the Questmaker office is going to be in the lobby. Like, right there. I still haven't figured out a good design for the Questmaker office. However, there is going to be a reward for looking around and just poking, even though you're told to go directly to the main lobby, to the office, which is right here, you could explore the hotel and figure out some secrets. For example, over here, there is a back room for whatever. So, I think I'm going to have a challenge advancement for finding this place. And then, the elevator for this moon hotel takes direct advantage of the gravity. So you just hop from staircase to staircase. I'm going to put in some rooms over here. And then you can just jump straight up to the spectator area. Or jump up to these spectator areas. Because it's moon gravity. So, also, you have the option of jumping up a couple more floors. So, that down there is going to be floor 1. So then over here is floor 2, where of course I'm going to have a room 237. I just recently watched The Shining, so in room 237 I have a leashed up Johnny Vindicator, who actually will attack literally anything, including, if we put a pig out here, there you go. So Johnny the Vindicator here will attack literally anything. However, it is important to note that this Vindicator doesn't just have any old axe. It is immensely strong, but it carries an Eye of Ender. Now this Eye of Ender is specially named, and you can later trade with a super special trade with the Moon Questmaker to get a laser, which is basically meant to damage mobs from far away. So kind of like a trident to a bow, except it works underwater and fires in a straight line. So I'm going to put a couple other rooms around here. But here we are with room 237, which doesn't have anything else in it. One thing I've kind of designed to be doing is having this hotel absolutely filled with as many nerdy Easter eggs as possible. So one of them includes this storage here. Employees only, but you can of course just walk right in and then turn on the computer. At which point there's this deep thought that goes, "Hello, player. I assume you're here because calculated the answer to life, the universe, and everything." The answer is 42. And then at this point, that answer is just going to stay up there forever. and you can just walk right up. So this is of course set based on command blocks on a delay here. There's 2 structure blocks, one to pop up the computer face, and the other to pop up the answer of 42. And then that's it. If you push the, and then from there you can push this button until you're blue in the face and it won't do anything. So there we go. That is the second Easter egg, the first one being the Shining reference. A few hours later, now all the different hotel rooms are in place, and, well, can you tell I'm having way too much fun with this? You will see once I actually give you the tour. So now, we just walk up to the elevator and use the moon gravity to our advantage, and just hop straight up to floor 2. So here is floor room 238, and this is basically an upside down room, complete with an upside down llama, who is a bandit llama. So we have that. We have room 237, who just has Johnny the Vindicator, who is carrying a super crazy diamond axe, as well as an Eye of Ender, which can later be used to trade for a power laser. And this sign right here, it says, "We're remodeling after a crazy axe dude destroyed it all." So, little secret, there actually isn't anything in this room. It's just the Johnny Vindicator. Okay, so then you can hop over here. There's still mobs spawning. Okay, better fix that. Over here, we have the computer, which I just recently showed. It's the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy computer. Over here is a room where if you step on the pressure plate, it just spawns an Elder Guardian. Nothing special about this Elder Guardian, except for the fact that it is just an insane boss fight. And actually, an Elder Guardian is going to be directly involved in the final boss fight. So that's kind of interesting. Next, we have this room over here, which all it does is you walk in the room. The sign says, "I said do not disturb," and then you just get shoved out the door. So even if you try to you could walk to the side and see all the redstone, but yeah, you basically just get shoved out of the room. Over here we have just have that one lamp to light up the outside of the room, but then on the inside we have a bunch of spawners surrounded by cobwebs that spawn invisible spiders. So the player won't actually be able to destroy these spawners. And it also seems to be spawning other mobs for some reason. But here we go. Just a crazy amount of invisible spiders, who are also incredibly strong. So that's pretty much a certain death. I'm going to have to set the spawn point of the player to like the middle of the arena or something. So then we fly over here, and we come to the cat room. I'm not actually going to open the door because these cats are crazy. Even though they're sitting down, they can still move around. So it's like it's really kind of weird. So this is why I labeled them as moon cats. Do not open the door, because otherwise all of these cats will just come spraying out of the door and go flying all over the place. And they can still walk around, oddly enough. They just look like they're sitting down. And most of these doors have a do not disturb sign. This one is an aquarium. So we got all sorts of fish here. And this spawner is supposed to be spawning drowned, but it doesn't seem to be doing that. Also, missing a few dolphins here. Let's fix that. There we go. Now we got dolphins. And now we have dolphins grace. So for some reason this drowned spawner is not working all that well. Better fix that. Let's just hop out before all the dolphins escape. Next room is... oh, and we're back at the beginning. So just 8 rooms in the... yeah, 8 rooms in the second floor. All with weird things and Easter eggs all over the place. So, next up, the third floor, which already is a mob spawner, but it also has a swimming pool. In case you're wondering how this creeper got up here, I turned on the moon gravity for every single mob. So occasionally I've seen some, yeah, like that. So every mob can now jump really high and float down. And in fact, every mob in the world in this world at the moment can do that, because right now the moon gravity is on, and when it is on, it applies to every mob in the world. What is wrong with the creepers? That is so weird. It's like his head is inside out. That is so weird. And it's like, oh my golly, that is just weird. I think I need to relog, because every mob is now having this weird inverted problem here. And look, I can see inside the zombies. Hold on. Even, oh good grief. Yeah, I definitely need to relog. Good. As if that's at all possible, I think the graphics just got weirder. And seriously, what is going on here? I don't think it's actually doing anything bad to the game, so I'm just gonna keep playing until something bad happens. But that's just kind of worrying. I decided to make floor 3 nice and simple here. So it's just going to be a space B&B as opposed to an Airbnb. And each of these rooms is just filled with sheep of various color. In fact, the sheep are the same color as the carpets that they stand on. So these rooms are spawn-proof and also still have something in them. And I'm just going to spoil it right now. I'm not intending to put anything in these rooms. Nothing Easter eggy. I still might, but I'm not intending to at the moment. I would also like to point out that I added sea pickles to this pool here so that it's nice and bright. And also, from down below, the light caused by those sea pickles creates an interesting pattern. Completely not intended. And these redstone lamps, I use them everywhere. So, for example, these sheep rooms, I brighten them all up using just a redstone lamp and a debug stick. The only problem with doing this is that if you update that block, it turns off. But it's ridiculously cool, because all you gotta do is just place a redstone lamp and right click, and then it just turns on. In fact, let me see if it works in reverse. So if this is powered, I can switch it to off. But then if I update it again, then it turns back on. So it turns out that redstone blocks update themselves. But having the debug stick automatically turn them on to to a state like this is really, really cool. I also lit up the elevator because mobs were spawning in it. So I'm basically trying to eradicate all possible mob spawning except for specific places where they need to be, like this room over here. This is supposed to be this dark. So the 4th floor of the Moon Hotel will have an underwater bouncy castle with a little airport at the top, just a little air hole at the top where I'm going to make a nice big longer tube, and I'm going to have a challenge advancement for reaching the top, because when you reach the top and press a button up there, it'll just drain the entire bouncy castle. So now what I have here is some slime blocks here connected with a bunch of redstone, which are all controllable using this redstone clock right here. And now, let's see if this actually works. Looks pretty cool. And the coral shouldn't be able to die. Why is the coral dying? It's constantly underwater. Seriously. Why is the coral dying? Okay, this thing's been running for the last, I don't know, 10 minutes. And so far, none of the coral has died. So, by the look of things, extending this clock out definitely did the trick. So now I'm just going to stop the clock so it stops popping up the coils like this, and looks like I'm starting to kill it. That's weird. So I guess you need for these pistons to run a full cycle in order for the coils not to die. That's weird. And now floor 1 is complete. So there are no connecting corridors. The only way to actually connect between the 4 different wings of floor 1 is to go across the stadium. Which is multiple ways to do that. To go across the arena. So now, in each of these floors we have iron doors which have the reserved labels. You can get a little sneak peek of various reserved rooms. So the idea behind this entire hotel is that each room is reformatted for whichever guest happens to be there, which is why the Space B&Bs are not really decorated all that much. So let's see. Down here we have an underwater room and also a nether room, and also each of the dead-end hallways have a little something in here, like the answer to question 15 in the trivia is poison potions. Now, this is actually kind of useless advice given that we're on the moon and the trivia maze has already happened in chronological order. Now, in this wing here, we have a ice room and also a wooden room, and also saying that go to floor 4 to visit the underwater bouncy castle because there's a secret. I'll show you what I put together as that secret in a little bit. But first, let me actually fly here. Okay, I reformatted this room so that it's just a bunch of diamond ores and stone, and this one now has melons and emeralds, which is green. Okay, all the floors, to my knowledge, all of the floors in this entire moon hotel is now complete. So now we can actually get on with the rest of the moon things. So that includes, I gotta figure out something with the moon quest maker. Here is the 2 exit maze that is going to be on the moon. It's going to have nice high ceilings, and the actual floor is going to be made out of blue ice. So yeah, it's just to add on that extra little bit of a challenge, as if it's really going to be necessary, because there's 2 exits to this maze, and even though you can see the maze right here, I'm not going to tell you which exit is correct. So one exit will be correct, the other one will be wrong. And so the wrong exit is going to have, rather than the moon quest maker greet you at the end of the maze, you're going to have a witch who will then come in and have a bit of dialogue and then kill the player so that they then start right back at the beginning of the maze. So here we go. I'm also considering submerging part of this maze underwater. So maybe submerge this part, make the actual maze part underwater, make this part underwater, and perhaps have some of the required paths underwater as well. This over here is a patch of, it's basically going to be a big room, big empty room, where I'm going to have tons and tons of mob spawners. And they will actually specifically spawn mobs like phantoms, which I'm going to add in a loot table, which phantoms will drop basically lasers. I got to connect the maze, or at least the correct entrance from the maze, to this parkour map. So I'm actually going to briefly show you the solution, the actual solution to this parkour map. So here we go. Mainly, this is to show what I'm doing and how I am doing it. So that way, if you want to create something like this later on, then you can. So let's see. This maze is intended, some parts are intended to be dark, but that does unfortunately mean that mobs are able to spawn, which is something I basically intend to remove all the mobs in here before you enter this maze. So let me just finish removing all these redstone blocks to stop these redstone clocks from overreacting. And there we go. Okay, let me make sure I'm on a backup. Indeed I am. So now I can just switch this to peaceful. Here we go. So there are a few different elements to this parkour map, parkour challenge. Because this isn't just straight jumping between blocks with floating and jump boost. No. We have things like slime block things jumping out. We have anvils coming down from the ceiling. We have trapdoors flipping up, and more. So, first off, you're gonna start right here. And when you start, only the things from this first stage are gonna be actually active. This way it doesn't lag out your game. So, first off, you have orange concrete for layer 1 here. Then you gotta jump to this one. These jumps are relatively easy. And then you get to this part where you do actually need the slime block jumpers in order to make it over there. So, and these are a little bit finicky. So, the way you do this is you have to, well, first off, you have to actually be kind of sprinting forward as you're doing this. So, there is some action on your part, but you're not able to get across without the help of this piston there. So, it's really a matter of luck whether or not you make it. There we go. So as you can see here, this anvil does seem to come down at a timer, but it's actually random. So it will randomly fall down right on this block and then immediately be removed. In particular, now this is done using just a regular redstone randomizer, and in this case, it's a 1 in 3 chance that an anvil, every time this clock pulses, every time this thing activates, there's a 1 in 3 chance that it will also come down with an anvil right here. So, it's really just about beating the odds. It wouldn't do too much damage. In fact, let me see just how much it does. Let's see, spawn point. Okay. Now if I walk over here and go into adventure mode, how much damage does this do? Okay. So it's not totally deadly, but it is quite a setback. It's also quite annoying. Next, you jump all the way over here, and then jump over here. At this point, you now have a ceiling blocking you. And then you have this over here, which I did that using leaf stone here. So this is something that Ilmango showed, where if you move a log next to a bunch of leaves, the observers will update based on the leaves status. And that happens regularly on a clock. So you just gotta walk across, and of course they flip upwards. So if you're on the trapdoor when it flips up, even if you're on the hinge like this, then you could end up falling through. Just to add that extra little bit of challenge. And then from there, you just hop up here and boink right up here. Try not to land in the lava. And right here you have a checkpoint. Now what this checkpoint does is it sets the spawn point on the pressure plate, at the location of the pressure plate. It also puts a redstone block on all these hopper timers for phase 1. So they are now all disabled. And what I hope to include is that it will then enable everything for phase 2. So this here is phase 2, far more complex than the first one. So now part of the challenge here is that the steps where you need to go are a little bit more difficult to see. As you can see, you can jump up to this spot with the retracting blocks, but then they can fairly easily push you off. So instead, you must go there in stages. So, whoops. First off, don't go into the lava. So first off, you have to jump all the way across, like this, to this block. I know it's possible. I'm just not very good at parkour. From there, you then gotta jump across here and time it just perfectly, so that this slime block system here pushes you up, and I just realized that that's actually not very possible to do. But you can sometimes be greeted with a random anvil here, and looks like I'm going to need to adjust the command blocks to break the anvil. So you will occasionally be met with an anvil coming from the side, like that. So first off, you got to time this just perfectly so that you actually jump up to this block here. And then you have this randomly disappearing lava column, which could be a hindrance. And then you have this thing here. This is a bunch of blocks that extend and retract, and these are set on repeaters here. So they appear and disappear pretty quickly. And from there, you then have to jump from this puzzle over to this block. Now this block is especially evil, because if you've not seen it before, if you've not seen what's happening already, you will not see this coming. This block will randomly have this happen to you. This block just popped out of the wall and pushed me off, just like that. And every time this hopper loops around, it has a 1 in 3 chance of throwing you off like that. So, and the random sideways anvil has a 1 in 9 chance. So, not only will it have a random anvil, but this is also the command block. This is also the system that dispenses or retracts the lava column. I'm still not sure if it's a hindrance. Anyways, so sometimes it happens quickly, sometimes not. But then you gotta jump up onto this block here, and then jump through the hole, and here we are on the 3rd checkpoint. Once again, this disables everything from in phase 2, and would enable everything in phase 3. Everything's already been enabled, so I don't need to go through that. Now, each step is made of this orange-stained glass, which is even more difficult to see. In fact, up there you can see the orange-stained glass panes, which from here is really the best angle to see them, because you won't see them from really any better of an angle. You can also see the fact that there's a pretty deadly anvil puzzle right there. So this floor is relatively simplistic, but it's also can be quite frustrating. For example, you have to time your jump so that you land on this piston here while it is retracted. And then from there, you could jump over to this block. From there, jump up to this one. And then you have this floating orange stained glass here, which is difficult to see. So is this, because it's intentionally dark. And then you gotta land on those orange stained glass panes right here. And then from there, believe it or not, there's an orange stained glass pane right there that you then have to land on. Good luck with that. That is weird. Anyways, now you just gotta jump up over here. I know that's a possible jump to do. And this is where things get really evil, because these trapdoors will randomly open and close. And also, some of these trapdoors open from the other side, so you can't really just run along the rim. This, of course, is done with leaf stone, which then connects to a whole bunch of randomizers that are all set to different trapdoors. And all of these randomizers have a 1 in 9 chance of opening the trapdoor. I'm considering extending this clock here so that it's not as easily noticeable. However, this is pretty much evil enough. And I also put these blocks here so that you can't just jump past this puzzle. So once you make it past here, you then jump up onto here, and this is where you get the cascade of anvils. So this, of course, runs on a good timer, but it is faster than you can sprint. This extra anvil here is actually a complete mistake. I have no idea why it's there, but it kind of serves as a final hammer on the coffin, if you know. So this is done with using a hopper timer and a bunch of repeaters, all connected to observers, all connected to a bunch of command blocks. The first one that sets the anvil up above in the pumpkin area there, and the other that removes the anvil. And then this command block at the end just replaces the entire thing with air to remove any stray anvils before the next cascade comes in. So, welcome to the Moon Questmaker's office. This is once again designed by my little brother, who is absolutely incredible. I would not have thought to use this kind of color palette here. So here's the Moon Questmaker's desk. As you can see, the Moon Questmaker is a golden rabbit. And I'm thinking I should make the custom name up here no matter where you look. But anyways, although that would be kind of a bad idea if I want multiple offices. So as you can see, I have barriers here because if these were not here, then as you can see, the Moon Questmaker could very easily escape. And I don't want that. So let's just... Here we go. So to prevent that, I put in these barriers. So I just hooked up the system for if the player walks into the wrong exit of this maze. So you meet the fake Moon Questmaker, who still talks as though the real Questmaker, except they're a witch. So it says that, and then it says they're the real one, so now you will die, and you die. And then, well, that's weird. You're supposed to respawn at the beginning of the maze. Okay, got some issues to fix here. Okay, the moon is complete except for the rocket ship that goes from the Earth to the moon. And that's not a concern at all because that's going to be its own episode, having put it in all of the rockets. So now now we have the Moon Hotel to cover up the fact that the arena is open air, and this Moon Hotel is absolutely filled with Easter eggs, including an actual computer, and several other things, like the fact that maybe you shouldn't disturb all the guests in the room because you might not like what you see, such as this room here, which is filled with invisible spiders, and also this room, which will quite literally kick you out if you disturb. All sorts of rooms like that. And also, in the floor above, you have the Space B&B, which is just, well, it's filled with sheep. And then the fourth floor has the underwater bouncy castle. And yes, the floors really do bounce up and down. It even has a couple bubble columns in here, and fish that spontaneously spawn. And also, up here, if you manage to swim up here, then you will first off leave the bouncy castle, and then you got some pretty high up jumps to do. So this is really a good time to get used to the fact that the gravity is weird. But then up here, you then get launched upwards a little bit. Okay. So you just get launched up to here a little bit, so you can kind of poke out over the edge. I'm going to decrease the levitation time there real quick. And once that happens, you can then push this button, which will unlock a challenge advancement, and it will it'll play a sound, and it will also completely drain this bouncy castle of water. So getting back down is going to be a little bit deadlier than expected. So, and of course in the Moon Hotel you have an elevator which works entirely on the gravity, but that's not it in this Moon Hotel. You also have the Questmaker's office with the villager agent to do the trading for you. You have a 2-exit maze, parts of which are underwater, and can also spontaneously spawn things like pufferfish. Just any minute now, there's going to be like schools of pufferfish everywhere, as well as several other mobs. And then from there, you then, once you go to the right, to the correct questmaker's office, you will then end up in this absolutely infuriating parkour challenge featuring anvils and several other things, at which point you then go on a rocket ship off to Mars, which will be the focus of next episode. So, thank you for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this episode where we focused entirely on the moon. I'm having a lot of fun with this. So, thank you for watching. I'll see you next episode where we focus on Mars.